Welcome back, everybody. Just Mike here. Today we're going to work on a Lux mantle clock. And how do you find out about it? There's Dan and Diana's channel. They have a site that shows all the Lux clocks. I'm guessing that they must have collected. And I'd swear they got everything. So let's take a look there on the computer. And here you can see these are many of the clocks that they have on their site. It's amazing to have this site so you can get a better idea of what they have. That's the site there. Go for it. It's enjoyable to watch. So this is the clock they have. And the one I have to work on too. It was built in 1926. So this is the clock. It's got a beveled glass in here and two handles. It's cast, I guess, and a nice clock. I should have looked, because I don't know if this is a one day or what. It does have a 200 here in amongst all their decoration. I tried and this clock is overwound. It won't tick anymore, so I have to take these nuts off in order to get this apart. Just looked again, and this is a 30-hour clock. So I'm going to take the winder off first. And these teeny nuts, you have to be careful with them. I'll be back after I get those off. So I tried getting the hour hand off, and it's just not coming off. When I tried using my hand puller, the minute shaft started to go in, but then it didn't realize it pushed this plate away, so it doesn't want to come off that gear. And so I'm going to have to straighten these out to get this movement apart, or not the movement apart, but the face off, and which is going to come with this gear here that didn't want to come off. And as you can see, the spring is wound up all the way. Like I say, this here, it's kind of ticking, but not. So let me add a few drops of oil all around on the pivots and see if this is going to help it any. Well, so far it's running. I'm just going to let it run and see about, oops, that didn't help any. See if it'll work in or not. In the meantime, you see this used to be shiny at one time. I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and clean this up while I'm waiting for that and see if this will come clean. So I think that came out pretty good. It's got some, let's say, corrosion or something was dripped on here, and I'm not going to keep working at it because it might end up going clear through the metal, who knows, but I'm happy with this compared to what it was. Thank you. So I wash this, and it's not the best, but you figure as old as it is, it's not bad. And I do believe, besides this is pot metal, this is a paint over this, and I just soon not repaint it. So what I think, because I want to keep the, let's say, the old look to it, I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a wax on this, and what I plan on using is Howard's wax. It's meant for wood, and see how well it turns out. to get the, let's say, some kind of a shine back to it. I scrubbed this with Dawn dish soap with a toothbrush and tried getting out the aged, it could be a cleaner on here, but the dust has just worked in there. So I just want to brighten this thing up so it looks a little bit nicer. To show what the wax looks like, we'll split this clock in half. This side has been waxed. Compared to this side. Let me lighten this up a little bit more. Hopefully I don't overdo it. So I want you to see the finish isn't the greatest. So let me finish waxing this. I got the glass cleaned. I had to use a razor blade on the bevel in a few places. It's not perfect, but it's better than what it was. And then I used the polish on the outside of this frame, and it looks a heck of a lot better now too. And that little piece of aluminum that goes around the glass, I just wiped it down lightly with the glass cleaner after I was done doing the glass itself. So I put the movement inside this case, and I plan on screwing the nuts all the way down to hold this frame in, and then your final nuts will snug this plate up to this and hold it in like it should. I do believe that's the way it needs to go. I pop the hour hand back on, put this front on. It's not bolted, it just sets in there, but it sets inside the box of the, it sets inside this box, and so you're not going to be pulling this off. And of course this will just set right in there. Like that. And now I need to put this plate back on. Get the nuts back on. Get our fancy dancy hand on, the winding hand. Now this, I do believe, used to be painted. By the looks of this side, you can kind of see how dark it is. I originally thought it was just dirt or grub from someone winding it, and the more I cleaned on it, the more the brass came out. But like I say, to me it looks like paint on there, so I wouldn't, it's up to you what you want to do, but I wouldn't get carried away with it. I noticed this clock would stop every once in a while. And then right up here on the spring is the end of a spring. So there's a chance this here spring has broke, even though this pin here is holding on to a spring. So I'm going to see what this, we'll call it broken springs, all about. To get this wheel out, you'd back off this here. And it's really in there, surprisingly. sometimes on the inside you'd put fingernail polish or something to lock this in place. Normally you shouldn't have to, but and there my spring is falling off. I'm going to go ahead and pull this pin too that holds the spring on the length that you made it. So I have the spring end that looked like it was broke right there on the end. I think what I'm going to do is put the pin back in there, reinstall this. It's inside where you'd lock it. It's inside the speed control. And so I think I'm going to try to put this back together again and see what I can come up with. So I'll put this back in, I'll lock it into place, and then I'm going to see where I need to, let's say, adjust the spring so it has an even tick-tock compared to a tick-tock, 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 tick. I got the spring pulled out, totally out, so it's not affecting this spring. And what I think might have happened, and we're going to find out, first I have to make sure it keeps running, but I might have to change that spring because possibly the end of the spring that was on there might have broke, and so now the spring might be too short in order to get this thing, let's say, timed into the center where it'll rock back and forth and actually move the gear. So I think I'm going to see if that thing will run all day, or I should say through the night. In the morning we'll check it out, see if it's still running, see if I need to go ahead and just replace the spring. Well, I've been avoiding it, and I've been messing with the spring on the clock, and I'm just going to have to change it with one of these, which I bought a variety pack, so I'm going to have to get my spring out of the clock first to see which one I need. So I went ahead and loosened up that nut that held this on, took the pin out, and now I have to pull all this wire through this and this to get it out. Like I say, this here I do believe got bent up, or did get bent up, got broke, and whoever that tried to fix it also didn't want to change the spring or buy a package, if they even knew about it, buy a package to change your spring. I've done one of these once already, and it is actually no sweat. Just the idea of, if you've never done one before, it's always scary until you try to do one. So where's that wire at? Now I have to try to match this one up with the one in my kit. I'm going to do this off camera, but as I remember, this here washer will say it's holding the spring. That's what you have to get off, and I do believe you can grab a hold of it and work it. Because this is a damaged spring, I don't care about it. The other one, you have to do a little bit something different there. But I'm going to do this off camera because everyone doesn't need to see my hands and not see the product. So these are the same here. This is the old one, and my guess is it'd be this one here. This one looks like it might be a little bit bigger, but it could be because it's all stretched out. So I'm gonna try to get this on there without breaking anything. So I got it in, and I think I have it timed. I'm gonna go ahead and set it into this and see, put the minute hand on and time it again. So I got the speed down to where it could be run slow or it could be run just right, but now I have a chance of speeding it up from the switch on the back. So I think I'll go ahead and put this back together again. So I guess I'm happy this clock only needed the spring in there to get it working again. Like I say, it was clean inside and probably not used much anyway, and it wouldn't really run that well if at all with the spring that was in it, just because it was broke at one time. Anyway, we got her in there. I'll show a close-up of the patent on this clock. But being a 1926 clock, I'm very happy with it. It's almost 100 years old. Anyway, give me a thumbs up if you appreciated this video. And don't forget to subscribe because it's free. And until next time, God bless.